action figures, the comic books. Give him a look. Oh no, my woman. You like action figures, the comic books.
Harambe YouTube. I mentioned on Thursday as part of my Juneteenth rollout, I would be doing a special unboxing Saturday. The reason why Saturday is because while Juneteenth is celebrated on the 19th of June, it wasn't always a federal day off. And so the celebrations I went to took place to the closest Saturday surrounding June 19th. And so this Saturday holds a special place in my heart because I've been celebrating Juneteenth from my earliest memories. And so this Saturday, I am opening up an action figure. I told you it's not a new action figure. It's actually one of the first non-wrestling action figures I bought. And I decided I was going to leave it boxed and see if I found another one that tickled my fancy. Maybe a different variant of this character. But I haven't found one that adds up. I'm not going to sell it, so why leave it on the card? So without further ado, we have the iconic black character from Marvel lore, Ororo Monroe, aka Storm. She has been a very influential figure in not only comics but pop culture. I think the most prominent person to play her is Halle Berry. That's what comes to most people's mind, and my mind as well. When I bought this, was the movie interpretation because back then I was not into comic books. This was released in 2018, and I bought it around the same time at a Target, just on an action figure hunt, looking at the different Supreme action figures they had from WWE. And I saw this for $14.79. I remember the price of it, and I had to get it. Like I said, I decided a couple of years ago that I was going to keep it and I was going to unbox it. But I wanted to find the right time. And as well, once I started this channel, I knew that I wanted to do a video of the unboxing. But I figured, let's save it for an occasion. Let's make a big deal out of it. And so this is actually one of the oldest action figures in my collection. When I bought this, I maybe had less than 50. Now I have a lot. Let's just leave it at a lot. I have more than a 46-year-old man should have. And since then, my understanding of the character and relationship with the character has changed. Like I said, I was not into comic books back then, but since becoming a comic book fan, I have seen her primarily in the Black Panther comic books. Oftentimes portrayed as T'Challa's wife, or friend, or cohort in Wakanda. And I've gotten into a few series. Her last two solo runs I read. And I recently did a kind of a special one-shot that they put. I forgot what the name of it was, but it was a good one-shot that was kind of encapsulating the history and lore of this character in one book. It was kind of a celebration. This is from the Uncanny X-Men line. And this line included Wolverine, Dazzler, Iceman, Cyclops, Silver Samurai. And on the back you have a little story here. Storm, she has an amazing mutant power to control weather with quick mental commands. Storm can create anything from a simple summer shower to a raging hurricane. By raising her arms, she can command the winds to carry her anywhere. You look at the packaging, it is bright, it is bold, it is exciting. It's something that stands out on the toy shelf. It caught my attention, I'm not going to lie to you, and just looking at it before we get out the box, we have some Storm Blast here, accessories, and it looks like we have a cape of some sort that connects to the hands. And I'm seeing a little bit of articulation here. Not great articulation, but not bad. Pretty standard Hasbro Marvel articulation from around this time. I have a Black Widow that was from around this time, and it has very similar articulation. So we talked about the action figures and the action figure and the packaging. So let's get into it. I'm gonna see if I can preserve a little bit of this card because I do like the way that it looks. If it takes too long, I might fast forward. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, this card will not be preservable. It is very, very secure. Okay, enough with the kid gloves. It's time to get it open. And so the way that I review and unbox action figures, I talk about the appearance, I talk about the articulation, and then I talk about the accessories. So let's get into it, getting her out of the box here. This is like a travel back in time. Get her standing up here. The balance is a little bit off. We have this amazing hair that looks brilliant, but it does mess with the balance a little bit. This is already a great looking figure. Just out of the box here. And let's get these out of the packaging here. And let's see if we can get this thing elevated so you guys can see it on camera a little bit better. She does not want to stand up on her own. So yeah, this is a great looking figure here. I love the hair. It's sculpted. It's a little bit heavy, but it looks beautiful. And the dark skin tone here. You have the white glowing eyes, the X-Men symbol on the shoulder pads. And really, when I get this in my hand, I was worried when I open it I would be unhappy with the articulation, but the articulation is just fine. And especially considering it's from 2018, and I love too these shoulder pads here. If you look at these shoulder pads with the X-Men logo on them, these are actually a lighter plastic that's not connected to this to the arm or body, and so it's a slightly different texture that gives you that lets you take full advantage of this arm movement. And I really like this right here. The way this is designed, it's beautiful. And when you go down to the torso here, we have a swivel on the torso, which, I mean, I didn't even notice that it was a separate piece. I thought the torso was one solid piece just because of how well everything is integrated and painted and put together. It's a very well put together piece. You don't have any visible pins on joints. Okay, you have a couple of visible pins. Not in the arm. The arms are pinless, but the knees are double jointed with pins. And so we have a little bit of pinless action going on, and then the knees have pins in them. So kind of a combination here. And if we look at this cape, you can see that it is split in the back so that it does not hinder the arm movements. Now, I'm assuming this will come off with the hands, like, with the other Hasbro figures, but like I said, it's being two pieces here, being actually not two pieces, one piece that is split in the middle all the way down to the bottom. You don't need to remove this accessory to get the full motion of the arms. Now, the downside to it being a 2018 Hasbro piece is the elbows are single jointed. But back then, there were not a lot of action figures in this price point that had double jointed elbows. So it was an industry standard. And then let's take going down here. The hips, we do not have a hip swivel or cut. We just have the swivel on the upper torso here, but no hip movement side to side or anything like that. That would be nice to have, but then again, back in 2018, like the Black Widow figure I mentioned having in my collection before, it doesn't have that, and the Captain Marvel I have from around the same time doesn't have that. So it was industry standard. Going down from the torso to the legs, we have a ball joint on the legs, which is always nice. We have a cut on the thigh for horizontal left to right movement. And then going down to the knees, I got a little bit ahead of myself earlier. We have double jointed pin knees. And these double joints, you get a lot of movement and a lot of movement right out of the box. My big fear was just hanging on my wall all of these years and just sitting. I thought that the joints might be stiff, and you notice that when I pulled it out of the packaging, I was very careful because I figured the plastic might have hardened up. Something might have happened all these years hanging on my wall, not being moved, but the joints, they move very confidently and easy. I don't even have to add heat to these. They move very well out of the box, and it doesn't feel fragile. Going down from the knees, we have the foot, which is back and forth, there. A little bit of side to side movement. And so what we have is we have a hinge that goes back and forth combined with a ball joint for a full circle of movement and a wider range of back and forth. I really like the way they do that, and it locks in place very well. So let's get a look at this here at the back. Look at the detail and the hair sculpting, and we have big, beautiful hair, different textures and shades of gray and white throughout. This is not something that the artist rushed through, and despite it having a very basic color scheme, the uniform, the suit itself is beautiful, primarily white and gold, but the different texture and the different materials they use. We have the cape is soft goods. We have these shoulder pads here, which is a lot lighter plastic that is more mobile, but it's not going to be as um it's not going to be as flimsy as a soft good. And so I like that there, and it allows the arms to move freely. And I think that is a very, very creative way of addressing those arm movements. I've seen a lot of times in Hasbro, primarily G.I. Joe, they will have great articulation in the arms, but they will have either a vest or a shoulder pad or something that hinders the movement of that arm. And so the joint is, you have you have a double joint, but you can't use it. There was actually one. I talk about it a lot when I talk about Hasbro action figures. My first GI Joe classified action figure, which was a Roadblock, great action figure to this day. I love it. When I did the unboxing of my newest Roadblock, the Cobra Island Roadblock, I pointed out the vest was painted on this one, as opposed to the heavy, thick, solid vest that you have on the first one. And while it was a nice touch, the vest isn't removable, and they not only have a double joint, but they have a butterfly cutout that is under the vest that is null and void. So I think that was a waste of articulation, putting a double joint and a hindrance in front of that butterfly cut. It didn't need a butterfly cut. But this right here solves that problem. Plastic that is movable and it fits seamlessly into the action figure. Um, I thought that, when I first pulled it out of the box, it was going to get a little bit lower grade because of what I thought were the issues with the torso. But the torso, we have more motion than I expected. We don't have a hip swivel, which was noticeable from looking at the box. outside in through the plastic, but even without the hip swivel, I like the way that it's designed and that torso moves. And not only does it move easily, it almost locks into place. And so, it moves easily, but it's not wobbling. And we get a lot of motion for just a single swivel here. And so I really dig that. I mean, I would give this action figure a 8 or 9 out of 10. If we had some hip movement there, it would easily be a 10. And the high points are definitely the hair. I love the shoulder pads. I love the cape. I love the swivel. On the torso, the only negative that I see here is, okay, well, I guess technically there would be two. Um, we don't have the hip movement side to side at the bottom of the torso, and the arms are not double jointed. But like I said before, the single jointed arms were industry standard. And then I didn't talk about the accessories. There are only two accessories, and that was these blast effects here that you can put on the hand. So it looks like she's doing something with the weather here. And they go on nice, they create a fun effect. And is it the most technical or fancy accessories? Not at all. But they are fun, they are character specific, they are practical, and they are easy to use, and they look great when applied to the end of the hands. And so to me, even though there's only the two accessories, great job with these. So that's been it. I thank you for tuning in to this slate of special Juneteenth videos I've done. I put out 7 videos on June 19th. So if you are wanting to catch up, go back to June 19th. I believe I put them all on a playlist. I have a Juneteenth playlist, which encapsulates the videos I did last year for Juneteenth and this year. And I have a Juneteenth 2025 playlist that includes a bunch of comic book reviews featuring black characters, a little bit of my history with Juneteenth and what Juneteenth means, and a video where I talk about Juneteenth and how it inspired me to be a musician. And I cover a hip hop classic on ukulele of all things. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wacky? Yes, I love the ukulele, and yes, you can do hip hop with a ukulele. So if you want to hear me cover Eric B. and Rakim on ukulele, go check out that Juneteenth 2025 playlist. And I will see you next time. Until then, Harambe, and keep buying them action figures. I'm out.